Hey, this is David. Today we're going to show you how to fix a Whirlpool electric dryer that will run but not heat. One reason this issue might be happening is due to incorrect voltage, a faulty heating element, a defective control board, or a thermal cutoff kit that has failed. Together we're going to work to identify and fix this heating problem one step at a time. If you want to see more step-by-step appliance repair tutorials like this one, hit that subscribe button and click the bell to turn on notifications so you'll see our newest videos. With over 2 million products in stock and the know-how to help you do it yourself, we are AppliancePartsPros.com. Before we get started, let's get our tools together. Today you'll need a 1/4-inch nut driver. If you have a drill with a 1/4-inch bit, you'll thank me later. A multimeter, a small flathead screwdriver, and a Phillips head screwdriver. Also, please remember that safety comes first. Always remember to disconnect your electric dryer by unplugging it or switching the breaker off. Now let's get at it. I also want to point out there are 2 thermistors that can affect this dryer. When one of the thermistors fails, it will usually set off an error code and not run. This is not really common, but I did want to mention it. Our dryer today is running okay, just won't heat. In order for your electric dryer to run and heat, it needs 240 volts AC, 120 volts on L1 or the black wire, and 120 volts on the L2 or the red wire, a total of 240 volts. It can run on 120 volts on the black L1 line, but it takes both L1 and L2 to run and heat. Pull the dryer out and access the terminal block cover. Remove the 1/4-inch screw. Also, please be careful to protect yourself from electric shock, which has the potential to cause serious injuries. If you're not comfortable using a multimeter and testing live voltage, it's okay. Do what you're comfortable with. With it plugged in or the breaker turned on, use your multimeter set for AC voltage and check from the white wire to the black wire. You should read 120 volts AC. Check from the white to the red wire. You should also read 120 volts AC. Now check from the black to red. You should read 240 volts AC. If your voltage is correct, you can move on to our next test. If the voltage is incorrect, there is a problem with the house electrical. Once you confirm there is 240 volts AC at the terminal block, before we tear into this dryer, let's make sure the control board is sending the proper voltage to the heating system. Make sure the dryer is unplugged or the breaker is turned off. Remove the 2 screws that hold the top on. You will see the control board on the right. Once you restore power to the dryer and press start, turn the dryer on, making sure high heat is selected. With your meter set to AC voltage, check across heater relay 1 from black to violet. If the relay is closed, you will read 0 volts. Do the same thing to heater relay 2. You should read 0 volts. This would indicate the relays are closed and are working properly. If either relay test reads 240 volts AC, the relay is open and the board would need to be replaced. If the voltage is correct, your board is good and you can proceed to the elements and high limit testing. Now that we know the voltage is correct, let's check the high limit kit located on the heater housing. To access the high limit kit, make sure the dryer is unplugged or the breaker is turned off. Next, you will want to disconnect some of the wire connections that connect the console to the board. Lift the console up and remove it. Then remove the screws that hold the control board bracket. Working from the bottom of the front panel, remove the 1/4-inch screws at the bottom. Now remove the top screws. Remove the 2 Phillips head screws just inside the door that hold the door panel to the lint screen housing. Remove the lint screen, and while you're in the neighborhood, lift and remove the front panel and disconnect the door switch connection. Remove the front metal bracket. Unplug the moisture sensor connector at the right of the blower housing. Remove the screws that hold the blower housing. You'll need to remove the wire harness straps on the right side of the bulkhead. Remove the screws that hold the bulkhead on and lift it off. To gain easier access to the heater housing, loosen the drum belt and use the belt to lift the drum out. The high-limit thermal fuse is located on the rear part of the heater housing. The high-limit thermal cutoff is a fuse that opens up on high heat to cut off the heating element. This typically happens if the element is shorted or the airflow is blocked off. Remove the wires and with your multimeter set for continuity, check across the two terminals. If there is no continuity, the fuse is defective and the high-limit kit needs to be replaced. If there is continuity, we need to move on to the next check. Next up is the heating elements. This electric dryer has two heating elements. Go ahead and remove the two violet wires from the terminals. Using your multimeter set for resistance, check from the two red wire terminals to each of the two other terminals. You should read 20 ohms on each circuit. If the resistance is not correct, you will need to replace the heating element. If the resistance readings are correct, the element is good. After making all our checks on the dryer, we found the heating elements were defective. Let me show you how to change them out. Remove the three wires going to the element terminals. You do not need to remove the wires going to the high-limit kit. Now remove the screw that holds the two halves of the housing together. You should now be able to separate the housing and remove the element. Here's the old heating element and here's the new one. If you've already got one, great. If not, you can pick one up at appliancepartspros.com. Install the new element with the terminals facing towards the left. It should fit into some slots. Position the top part of the heater cover and insert the rear portion. Then install the screws holding the element housing together and install the three wires to the element terminals. Position the drum in place and install the belt to the pulley. Put the front bulkhead on with the 1/4-inch screws. Install the blower housing cover and connect the sensor bar connector. Now install the top bracket. Make sure to push any wiring up underneath the bracket. You should be able to set the front door panel. It has some notches on the top to help hold it in position as you secure it with the screws at the top and bottom. Now you can reinstall the Phillips head screws behind the door. Don't forget the lint screen. Grab the control board and bracket and reinstall them up top. Position the console in place and reconnect the wiring to the board and console. Check all your connections and then install the top. Aren't you glad you used a drill? Don't forget to plug the dryer back in or flip the circuit breaker back on. Once you found the faulty part, whether it was a heating element or something else, grab your model number and head over to appliancepartspros.com to order a replacement, which should arrive in just a few days. After you get your new part, we'll walk you through the installation with our video guides. Share your repair experience with us by leaving a comment below. And before you wander off, hit the like and subscribe buttons to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.